The soft morning light filtered through the windows of Aminata's chamber, the clock ticking past 8:17 a.m. on that crisp day. The air carried a hint of jasmine from the garden below, mingling with the faint scent of ink from the library where she'd shared her story just hours before. Liang's gentle touch from his visit still lingered on her skin, his promise of a future echoing in her heart. She sat on the edge of her bed, her deep blue robe flowing around her, the silver embroidery catching the sunlight. Her carved wooden pendant rested against her chest, a steady weight as she traced its edges with her fingers. Wei and June's bittersweet smiles flashed in her mind, their acceptance of her leaning toward Liang filling her with warmth. But her heart fluttered with uncertainty, the pull toward Liang's strength growing stronger, yet the memory of their rivalry kept her on edge. She stood, smoothing her robe, and whispered to herself, "Today feels different." Little did she know, the peace she'd found would soon be tested. As she stepped onto the balcony overlooking the palace courtyard, a shadow fell across the stone. A man's voice boomed, harsh and commanding, cutting through the morning calm. General Hao, his scarred face twisted with anger, stood below in black armor that gleamed under the rising sun. His eyes were cold as he shouted, "Surrender the palace or face war. Old laws forbid foreign influence." His soldiers lined up behind him, their swords drawn, and Aminata's breath caught. Her hands gripped the railing, her heart pounding as she watched the threat unfold. The court gathered, their murmurs rising, and she felt a surge of fear mixed with determination. This was no rumor like shows. It was real, and it threatened everything she'd come to love. Inside, Liang took charge, his midnight blue robe a symbol of calm authority as he rallied the court in the throne room. His piercing eyes scanned the nobles, his voice steady as he outlined a defense plan. "We protect our home," he said, his gaze flicking to Aminata with a warmth that made her chest ache. She stood beside him, admiring his strength, her love for him deepening with every word. The Empress nodded, her crimson robe regal, and the guards moved to their posts. Aminata's hand brushed his, a silent promise passing between them, her heart swelling with pride and affection amid the growing danger. Wei led the first strike, his vibrant red robe flapping like a flag as he charged with the cavalry. His mischievous eyes burned with fierce love for Aminata, his sword flashing in the midday sun at 12 p.m. He fought bravely, cutting down enemies with a grin, his passion driving him forward. But a sudden blow from a soldier's blade caught his arm, blood staining his robe. He stumbled, his strength waning, and Aminata's heart clenched from the balcony. His wound tested her feelings, the sight of him hurt pulling at her love for all three princes, though Liang's presence beside her offered a steady anchor. June worked tirelessly in the healer's quarters, his pale gray robe stained with sweat and herbs as he tended to the wounded. His soulful eyes were weary but kind, his hands gentle as he bandaged a guard's leg. He looked up at Aminata when she brought water, his gaze softening. "Your people need you," he said, his voice quiet but firm. His care for her and the court strengthened their bond, adding emotional weight to her choice. She squeezed his shoulder, grateful for his support, her heart aching with the love she felt for him too, though it paled beside Liang's growing hold on her. The battle erupted in the courtyard as General Hao's forces breached the gates, their shouts mixing with the clash of steel. Liang and Aminata rushed down, fighting side by side, her pendant swinging as she swung a staff. His sword moved with precision, her movements fueled by their love, a motivator against the chaos. The sun beat down, sweat beading on her brow, and she felt his strength beside her, their bond a shield. Guards fell and rose, the air thick with dust and determination, and her heart raced with every swing, their love a beacon in the storm. Then, in a heartbeat, Wei threw himself in front of her as a spear aimed for her chest. The blade struck him instead, tearing through his red robe, blood spilling onto the stone. He crumpled, his mischievous eyes dimming as he gasped, "Live for me!" Aminata screamed, dropping to her knees, her hands shaking as she tried to hold him. Tears streamed down her face, her love for him shattering into grief. Liang pulled her into his arms, his embrace tight and warm, offering solace as Wei's life faded. Her heart broke, but Liang's presence solidified her love for him, the loss cementing her choice. The court gathered to mourn Wei. His body laid in state in the great hall, his red robe cleaned and draped over him. Candles flickered, their light soft against the silence. Aminata and Liang stood together, tears falling as they held each other, their love deepening through grief. June joined them, his soulful eyes wet, vowing, "I'll honor Wei's memory." His words united the brothers' legacy, and Aminata felt a mix of sorrow and strength, her hand in Liang's a lifeline as they faced the pain together. Liang led the final stand, his midnight blue robe stained but proud as he rallied the guards for a counterattack. Aminata stayed at his side, her pendant a rallying cry as they pushed back General Hao's forces. Swords clashed, shouts rang out, and under the fading light at 6 p.m., they forced the enemy to retreat. Hao fell, his black armor clattering to the ground, and the courtyard fell silent. Their love had been a beacon, guiding them to victory, and Aminata's heart swelled with pride as she leaned against Liang, exhausted but triumphant. The palace held a healing ceremony the next day, the air filled with the scent of incense and the rhythm of drums. Aminata and Liang lit a candle for Wei, their love a quiet strength as they placed it among others. The court joined, their faces somber but hopeful, and June led a prayer, his voice steady. The ceremony mended their spirits, the loss of Wei a scar they'd carry, but their unity a promise of healing. Aminata's tears fell, but Liang's hand in hers kept her grounded, their bond unbreakable. In the throne room, the Empress stood tall in her crimson robe, announcing a royal alliance with Aminata's motherland. "A new era begins," she declared, her piercing eyes warm. The court cheered, their love for Liang and Aminata symbolizing this peace. Nobles bowed, and Aminata felt a surge of joy, her journey's purpose fulfilled. Liang squeezed her hand, his smile soft, and she knew their love had built something lasting, a bridge between worlds. That night, in their chamber, the candles glowed at 9 p.m., casting a warm light over the silk-covered bed. Liang and Aminata shared a tender, passionate moment, his touch healing the pain of Wei's loss. His lips brushed her forehead, her cheeks, her mouth, each kiss a balm to her soul. Their love, forged in battle, blossomed fully, his hands gentle yet fierce as they held her close. She melted into him, tears of relief mixing with joy, their bond a sanctuary after the day's trials. The golden light of dawn at 6:45 a.m. painted the balcony where Aminata and Liang stood, the sky a soft blend of pink and orange. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of lotus from the garden below, a gentle reminder of the peace they'd fought for. Liang's arm was warm around her, his midnight blue robe brushing against her deep blue one, the silver embroidery glinting in the early light. Her carved wooden pendant rested against her chest, a steady comfort after the battle's chaos. The memory of Wei's sacrifice still stung, his last words, "Live for me," echoing in her mind, but Liang's embrace soothed the ache. Her heart felt full, her love for him a quiet strength as they watched the palace wake below. The victory over General Hao had settled into a calm, and she leaned into him, her head on his shoulder, knowing this was the start of their forever. Inside, the palace buzzed with excitement as maids flitted around Aminata, adjusting her deep blue robe for the wedding. The halls were adorned with red and gold banners, the colors vibrant against the wooden walls, a celebration of their union. Her heart raced with joy, her brown eyes shining as the maids fussed over her hair, pinning it with silver clips. The robe fit perfectly, hugging her rich brown skin, and she touched her pendant, thinking of her mother Nia, whose legacy had brought her here. Liang was nearby, his voice low as he spoke with guards, and the thought of standing beside him as his wife filled her with a warm glow. The palace felt like home, and she smiled, eager for the day ahead. In the throne room, June waited, his pale gray robe neat, his soulful eyes warm with a gentle smile. He held a poem, his hand steady as he read it aloud, blessing their love with words of peace and strength. The Empress stood beside him, her crimson robe regal, her piercing eyes soft with pride as she nodded. "You've united us," she said to Aminata, her voice thick with emotion. The family gathered, nobles and guards alike, uniting in love, and Aminata felt tears prick her eyes, her heart swelling with gratitude for the support around her. The wedding unfolded in the great hall, its lanterns blazing with a warm, golden glow. Liang and Aminata stood at the center, their hands clasped, the air filled with the scent of incense and flowers. His steady gaze met her radiant smile as they exchanged vows, his voice clear. "I promise to love and protect you always." Her voice trembled with happiness as she echoed him. "And I promise to stand by you forever." The court cheered, their voices rising in joy, and she felt the weight of their love seal their bond, a moment etched in her soul under the soft evening light at 6 p.m. They led a dance, blending Chinese steps with the rhythms of her motherland, their movements fluid and graceful. The music swelled, drums and strings filling the hall, and the court joined in, their love a symbol of harmony. Liang's hand guided her, his touch firm yet tender, and she laughed, her heart light as they twirled. The nobles clapped, their faces bright, and Aminata felt a surge of pride, their union a bridge between cultures, the evening air warm with celebration. The feast that followed was a burst of laughter and delicious smells, spiced meats, sweet cakes and fresh fruit. Liang sat beside her, his midnight blue robe a contrast to the table's colors, and he fed her a piece of cake, a playful smile on his lips. She giggled, the sweet taste mixing with the joy in her heart, and the guests delighted in their intimacy. His fingers brushed hers, their love shining like a beacon, a shared celebration of the peace they'd built, the hall alive with happiness. A tribute to Wei came next, a bronze statue unveiled in the garden, his red robe carved with care. Aminata and Liang laid flowers at its base, their hands linked, their love honoring his sacrifice. The court gathered, their faces moved by his memory, and she whispered, "Thank you, Wei," tears falling. Liang squeezed her hand, his strength a comfort, and the statue stood as a reminder of the cost of their happiness, a silent guardian in the soft evening light. Liang's younger sister ran into the garden, her silk robe bright with yellow flowers, chasing a village child with a ball. Aminata joined them, her laughter ringing out as she caught the ball, imagining their future family. The girl hugged her, and Liang watched, his piercing eyes soft with love. The vision of children with her curls and his eyes filled her heart, her love for him growing with each giggle, a promise of a joyful life ahead. Under the midday sun at 12 p.m., Aminata opened a school in the palace courtyard, teaching Nia's history with scrolls and stories. Liang stood beside her, his presence a support, and the court applauded as students gathered, their young faces eager. Her pendant gleamed, a link to her mother's legacy, and she felt proud, their love nurturing this new beginning. The children's voices rose, a melody of learning, and Liang's hand on her back warmed her soul. That night, in their chambers, the moonlight streamed through the window at 9 p.m., casting a silver glow over the silk-covered bed. Liang and Aminata shared a loving moment, his touch gentle as he brushed her hair back. His lips found hers, tender yet fierce, healing the scars of battle. Their bond consummated, their love a sanctuary, and she clung to him, tears of joy mixing with passion. The candles flickered, the room filled with their quiet breaths, sealing their happiness in a night of pure connection. The next day, Liang addressed the court in the throne room, his voice strong as he declared, "A golden age begins with Aminata as queen." The Empress nodded, her crimson robe a symbol of approval, and the hall resounded with cheers. Nobles bowed, their faces bright, and Aminata stood beside him, her deep blue robe regal, her heart full. Their love was the foundation for prosperity, a bridge between lands, and she felt a surge of pride as the court celebrated their reign. Hand in hand, they walked through the garden, the lotus pond reflecting the midday sun at 12 p.m. They envisioned a life with children, their laughter filling the palace, and Aminata leaned into Liang, her love eternal. The air was sweet with flowers, the palace a home free of past dangers, and she smiled, her future with him a bright promise. His arm around her felt like forever, and she knew this was where she belonged. As the sun dipped at 6:45 p.m., they sat by the lotus pond, its surface a mirror for the orange and purple sky. Liang's arm was around her, her head on his shoulder, the palace glowing behind them. The water lapped gently, a soft lullaby, and she felt complete, her love for him a steady flame. The court's laughter faded into the distance, their story ending in serene joy, a perfect close to their journey. To all my amazing viewers at Jade Lantern Stories, thank you for joining Aminata and the princes on this wild ride. If you loved this tale, please subscribe to my channel for more exciting stories. I'd love to hear what you'd like next. Maybe another love story between an African girl and a brave warrior, a mysterious sailor, or even a royal guard. Drop your comments below and let me know who you'd pair her with. Your support means the world, so hit that subscribe button and let's keep the magic going.